Come on, today. We're solving absolute value equations. We have time. We'll go ahead and start on solving inequalities and graphing them on a number line. But for right now, we're going to solve absolute value equations. You've done this before. Hathaway just told me that you did. Right? Stop. There's only one trick you need to know, right?
It's the same thing as
It's just if it's negative, you just change it to a positive.
Right. So I wanna solve for both positive and negative 2 inside here. So when we solve, yes. Is it okay? Let's just talk about it first. When you're solving absolute value equations, I want you to treat this guy right in here, anything that's inside the absolute value symbol, I want you to treat it like a variable. It's a whole entity. So our goal is to isolate what's inside the absolute value, right? And then solve for the positive and negative versions. So, goal.
Y equals negative 1.
Goal. Are you writing this? Your goal. 1. Isolate the absolute value quantity, not just the variable, the whole quantity inside the absolute value symbol. Okay, i.e., for example, what is it? Y plus 3? Y plus 3. Okay? And then 2, solve for positive and negative. Oh, really? Come on. Positive and negative. i.e. y plus 3 equals 2, and y plus 3 equals negative 2. Okay? So solve for both. So many inequalities. Copy, copy, copy. Many absolute value equations will have 2 different solutions. Okay? It's not going to be -1 and +1, right? So if I solve both of these, y plus 3 equals 2, and I subtract my 3 from both sides using my subtraction property of equality. I'm going to be so annoying. That's going to be so annoying. I get out y equals -1. Well, that's one of them. But what about solving for -2? Right? So y plus 3 equals -2. Well, I do it the same way, right? I solve the same way. But I get at a different answer. Don't I get at a different answer? So there are two values that satisfy this absolute value equation. Cool? Who hasn't ever seen this before, ever? Who just lied when they raised their hand? No, you're all right. But does that make sense? It makes sense, right? Because we can put a so the absolute value of -1 plus 3 is 2 equals 2. That's right. Does that make sense? I'll do that right over here. Sorry about that. So if I put in this -1, absolute value of -1 plus 3 equals 2, yeah. The absolute value of 2 is 2. That is correct. As well as -5. The absolute value of -2 is that 2 as well. Good? Correct? All right. Caught up? We're all good? I can give you a paper and you can get to work? No?
I guess so.
I guess so. Okay.
Maybe.
How about I hand out the paper and you tell me which ones might be more difficult?
Why? So you make us do those?
No. We'll do them together,
Oh, so I think they're all good.
right? Why should I just throw you down the well when I can help you out?
Why not?
Nah, I mean, I can be mean, but it wouldn't serve a purpose. I wouldn't know that you didn't finish this homework.
Bro, like, why don't you just do us homework? Once you get back to the last second. That's just me.
That's what I just wanted.
Some hard things.
You'll have time in the class for
So
sure.
all units?
No. I want you to look at the bottom. Look at 13 through 26 and find me one that you think would be difficult, and we'll work it out together. 25,
Maybe. 23.
23.
One? Are you serious?
I said 13 through 26. So you said 25 or 23. 23 is not difficult.
Basically from
23 is not
14
difficult,
is
right?
really.
20.
That is 5.
Okay,
Let's do 14.
20.
5, 6.
14. So let's do 20 and 21. Is that okay? 20 and 21?
Yeah.
All right, 20 is just like 25, basically. I'm going to teach you how to cheat legally. But let's go ahead and do 20 is 2, 3W, and 12, right? 2
I did.
times the absolute value of 3W equals 12, right? Cool?
So
See it? See it? Okay. You do this one or two ways. It works out, right? Because multiplication and division, they're commutative. So let's go ahead and do 2 times 3W equals 12. And then 2 times 3W equals negative 12. Cool?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Now, do you really? This one's easy.
W equals 2, comma, negative 2.
2 and negative 2, right? Good. What do you want to do first? You can do it one of two ways, right?
Would you divide first?
When I see this, I usually do. I usually dumb it down as quickly as possible,
Yeah.
right? So I personally like things to be as easy as humanly possible. So I would have divided both sides by 2. So I'd have the absolute value of 3W equals 6. And then I would solve both for 6
Oh, so it's
and
just
negative 6. But this is the same thing, isn't it?
What would you do 3 times 0.1?
Say again?
Then we do 3 times 0.4.
So are we only doing
It says W equals 0. 0.4 times.
What?
What?
It says a value each equivalent.
I'm on the bottom. I said 13 through 26. So right now I'm doing number 20. You guys can input values for a variable. That's not difficult stuff. I don't need to go through that, do I? Because you can just use a calculator for that, right? I don't want to go over stuff that you really are good at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's learn something new and semi-exciting. I'm not going to really say it's exciting, but so I would still divide by 2, give myself a 6, 3W equals 6, divide both sides by 3, and then W equals 2. Well, look, it's the same thing over here. Divide by 2, divide by 2. But now I have 3W equals negative 6. Divide both sides by 3, divide both sides by 3. And then W equals negative 2. Cool? So we have our 2 answers. By the way, 25 is exactly the same. You can go ahead and divide both sides by that negative 5. Right? Isn't that what it is in 25? Good? Any questions on this so far? Anybody just out there? So let's do that. The one 21, the one with the extraneous addition, and then we can get to work. So it's the absolute value is 7x minus 3x. What's on the outside?
Plus 2
equals 18.
Plus 2 equals 18. Plus 2 equals 18. Right?
True.
Well, I need to isolate what's in here. Right? So is there anything happening outside of it that we need to get rid of? We need to get rid of that plus 2. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2 for both sides. So now I have 16 equals the absolute value of 7x minus 3x. Can I combine these guys? Yeah, absolutely. 7x minus 3x is 4x. So now I have the absolute value of 4x equals 16, right? So I'll solve for 4x equals 16 and 4x equals negative 16, because both of those values in there would give me an output of 16. And look at how easy it is, just use the division property of equality. X is 4. X is -4. Cool?
Yes, sir.
Are there any questions on these rules? Any questions on these rules? Yes. I will tell you what you need to do. No, you're not doing the whole sheet. Dear Lord, what kind of slave driver do you think I am? I have a whole other sheet that we have to work on today. Because these two things are similar, and you already know how to do it. You've done it before. So I want to review
Emergency
it.
interruption. Cadet Jordan, please report to the guidance office. Cadet Jordan to the guidance office. Thank you.
Somebody's getting protested.
I think we should send him where the guidance office is.
Complete. We got nothing to worry about. Those stuff.
Are you guys okay?
Yes, sir.
That's why Hana
All right, here's our next section.
Mine is just so much.
Here's our next section that's being recorded. Our goals are similar but not the same. Solving inequalities. So, with solving inequalities, our goal is to isolate the variable. We have rules, right? What's the rule? What's that big rule? Let me write out an inequality where you'll have to use the rule. It's not helping me. Not helping me. Not helping me. And not helping me. Gosh darn it. All right. Well, let me just go ahead and write one up there. Makes you use the rule. So let's use two examples. Example 1 is, let's say, 5x minus 8 is greater than
Ooh, I've done
let's not do that. 17. Okay? Good? So when you're solving inequalities, the goal is the same as solving equations. Isolate the variable. And then there's a don't forget rule. We multiply or divide across by negative flip the symbol. Don't forget this thing here. Okay, so, you good? Stay with me. Important. So we're going to solve it the same as we always do, right? Right? Nobles, what are we going to do?
Or plus 8.
We're gonna add 8 to both sides. We're gonna show the opposite of -8, which is +8, right? And then we're gonna have 5x is greater than, what is that, 25? Okay? Next step, we're gonna divide, right? Cool. Sionic's mad at me now because I answered for him, but I know he knows it. Never gets mad. And then we have a number line. Open or close circle?
Close.
Open or close circle?
Open.
Why?
Or,
Is that-
yeah,
Oh, closed is like greater than or equal to or less than.
Ah, it includes the number. Is there an equal
Okay.
sign here?
No, no.
Open.
Yeah.
See, you talked yourself into the right answer. I didn't even have to say it out loud. Good?
Good.
That's what chapter 4.
All right.
So read chapter 4, 5, and 6.
Let me know when you got this down. Everybody good? Can I move on? All right, everybody said yes. So here I go.
Water board vacuum. So this is another example.
Yeah. This is example 2.
Part, Randy.
Good?
That's
Good?
No.
Sir.
First step.
plus 3.
Yeah. So we're going to add
Oh, sorry,
3 on
sorry,
both
sorry.
sides.
Thank you.
Not plus 3. 3 on both sides, Mr. Adler.
Yeah.
You're very respectful.
Add 3 to both
Very
sides.
good, yeah.
Well done,
Very
well
funny.
Okay.
Divide by 6 afterwards.
Divide by.
Divide by -6. And get
On
negative
both sides.
3, y is less than or equal to -3.
Aha! You fell into the trap. What didn't you read? What didn't you read? When you multiply or divide across an inequality by a negative, what happens to the symbol?
So it's greater than or equal to.
It switches direction, okay? So when I divide by -6, divide by -6,
Greater than or equal to.
correct. So now I have that y is greater than or equal to -. Cool?
Okay, sir. So I have a question.
Yeah.
I know you showed us that video in the beginning of the year, but like, what jobs would you use this in real life?
Okay, so
Like, I'm just asking which jobs.
no, it's such a good question. You know how teachers used to get really, really mad when you said, "When am I ever going to use this again? Why am I learning math? This is dumb," right? And then the teacher would get really mad because I need to teach you these things because you need to know stuff when you get out of here. And that was a garbage answer from a teacher, right? Because they couldn't give you any specific example. Now, what I'm going to do, Mr. Hadaway, because that's such a great question, I'm going to tell you there is not a single time maybe once in your whole adult lifetime, you'll think about multiplying or dividing across an inequality by a negative,
Do you-
right? But I almost guarantee you will never see this again. You'll never have to graph stuff on a number line unless you're in school.
So how about you just give us 100?
But, smart Alec, my job is to get you to think logically. But what's the problem with this stuff? There's a rule that goes with it. Every job you will have in life will have some sort of parameter, some sort of rule or set of rules that you'll have to work within, right? When I work with the pre-calc guys and we're talking about continuity and we're looking at a function and say, hey, does it move continuously at this point on the graph? They're like, who cares? What does it matter? But they have a certain set of rules. They have 3 rules that have to be satisfied for that to be a reasonable continuous function. Your rule is, hey man, if we're multiplying and dividing by a negative, you gotta flip the inequalities. So am I really teaching you a life skill on how to do a job later on? No. Am I teaching you how to logically remember rules as you're approaching problem solving? Yes. So indirectly, I'm preparing you for logical resolution of problem. Isn't that a horrible answer?
Yep.
But it's necessary for me to teach your brain to become more logical. And not only logical, but to have to remember that there are rules that must be followed in life. Right? Long answer for something that's really annoying. All right, so I'm going to shut down the video. These are the examples.